Hi, hello. Actually, let me start with the first. Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you. I know you didn't just come for me, but thank you for being here anyway, because this is very exciting, right? This is really cool. We can't see anything, but there I am. Hi, I'm Jake. We did it! Yeah! Success! I'm very happy for us. So what do I do? I make videos on the internet, specifically on YouTube, which is a fantastic platform, everyone, as you already know. And I'm part of a group of channels called Vsauce. So there's 3 Vsauces, Vsauce 1, Vsauce 2, and wait for it, Vsauce 3. Oh, I know. We were very creative when we named them. So we all focus on science. And basically we're very curious. So the first one focuses on our world and how amazing it is, right? It's like, what would happen if everyone jumped at once? What if the sun disappeared? What does a human taste like? Interesting questions that you just need to know, right? Because everyone wants to find out what people taste like. Vsauce 2 is just about amazing things people have made. And then Vsauce 3, which is myself, is just about fictional worlds. So taking the comic books and video games and movies and talking about them scientifically and realistically and using them as a way to express biology and physics and chemistry and philosophy and hopefully get kids and everyone of all ages involved into science. So that's what we do. The 3 channels combined, we have over 13 million subscribers and over 1.2 billion views, which is like bananas. I don't even understand. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't even know how many people, 13 million, that's so many people. I can't even imagine that many people. It's kind of crazy. So that's kind of the spiel of what I do for Vsauce. And I'm going to kind of talk about how I go about making content for the internet, because I came from a background of traditional film and video. I went to film school, shot on 16mm black and white, and then moved to making videos where it's just me hitting record and I stand in front of the camera, which is very different than what I had imagined I would be doing, right? Because I think a lot of us want to make these beautiful films, these like very emotional pieces where they're just very fluid and beautiful. And that's what I had dreamed of doing as well. And then I tried to find a way where I could do that, but also combine it with what I loved, which was also science and just explanatory things. Because 1, I love talking, obviously, that's why I'm here. And 2, I love gesticulating. And 3, I love making videos. So how could I combine all of these into one thing? And luckily, Vsauce was able to do that. And something that's really important when making videos is creating consistent content. I'm going to kind of go all over the board because I'm just scatterbrained all the time. But a thing that we love on Vsauce is doing acronyms, right? Acronyms are amazing. So we have FAC, BOAT, BDP, JAM, and then everyone loves DONG. So FAC is like facts and knowledge, BOAT, best of all time, BDP, build it, draw it, play it, JAM, just awesome music, and DONG, do online now, guys. But what it does is it brands it, right? It makes it unique. So if you were to ever search FAC, the only thing that come up would be our show, If you were to YouTube search facts and knowledge, well, then a bunch of things would come up. But because of that, we are able to identify, to make it unique, to make it special. And then also the audience becomes part of this club where they know what this means. Other people might not, but they do. And it makes them feel special because they are. So we love acronyms. Acronyms are very important. And Michael Stevens, who runs Vsauce 1, is kind of the guy that got me into acronyms. And I don't ever want to copy him because he's very unique. But copy him stands for create online programming you have interest making, right? And that's just super important because, okay, tangents. I go on tangents, and I'm just going to pace back and forth wildly. Here I go in front of the screen. I apologize. You can see my shadow. But a big issue is when you make content that a lot of times, especially brands, just want to make things because it seems like the thing to do. Oh, that's what everyone's making videos, and it's so easy to make content and make a viral video and then make money off of it. But guess what? The audience can tell if it's not organic, if it's not natural, if it doesn't feel real, they know. Because there's this thin veil that we have between us and the viewer. It's just a computer screen. Because they can comment on the video. They can follow me on Twitter. They can follow me on Facebook and immediately get in touch with me. I'm not the same way as if you wanted to get in touch with Tom Cruise, how would you even, it's unfathomable. I don't even know how I would talk to him. But as a creator on the internet, it's a lot easier. The barrier for entry is immediate. It's right there. So you have to be honest. You have to make things that are important to you, because if they're important to you, then it will come through the screen. You'll be able to see it. The viewer will know that this is you. It's genuine, it's organic, and it feels nice. It feels better. So before I continue just talking forever, I'm going to talk more, but we're going to watch me talk on the screen. So just briefly, because I always feel like the best way to explain or express who you are, especially if you live in a creative world, is just to show something that you've made. So I'm going to show you something that no one's ever seen before. You're going to be the first people to actually see it. I just exported this around the street at Levi's Pizza like 2 hours ago. So hopefully it's good. We'll find out. You're going to be kind of my test audience, and hopefully there's no mistakes, because we're going to go on this ride together. So this is a video that I literally just made, and it is called Ghosts. And if we could gently dim the lights, I don't know. My beautiful light man. Ooh, there we go. Here we are. Hopefully the audio is okay. Vsauce. I'm Jake, and this is my sleeping wig. Thank you. Thanks. So that's nerve-wracking. So yeah, you're the first people to ever see that. So hopefully it was okay. I didn't really notice any mistakes. So that's good. Great. We went through it together and we survived. Maybe. I don't know. We could all be ghosts. So yes. So that's the kind of stuff that I make. Are those kind of videos. That one's actually the first time that I've ever had a crew. So that was exciting. Someone else got to operate the camera besides myself. Very fun. It's always fun to boss people around, right? Directing's great. So going back to what I was talking about, where I came from a film background, and I try and incorporate what I learned or what I just love about storytelling and put that into a YouTube video. So in my mind, I always try and have a narrative. Hopefully, there's like a beginning and a middle and end, and we go on a journey, and we come to some sort of a conclusion. There's some end, right? The finale. And in telling that story, I like to be as cinematic as possible, because I think there's a misconception, and I think actually Convos with your 2-year-old does it well, where internet video generally, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just cat videos, right? Which it is a lot of, and they're fantastic because cats are adorable. And goats. Goats are like making a comeback, I think. Personally, do you guys like goats? Anyone like goats? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Goats are awesome. Goats are fantastic. But there's more than just goats and cat videos on the internet. There is original content that is amazing. Some of the most creative people, I think, are on YouTube, because it allows anyone to have a voice. Anyone can make content. There's no longer the movie theater that you have to be in, or on TV. You can make things and just put them on the internet. Even if you don't have an audience, you can just make stuff. And if only 10 people watch it, that's 10 people. That's awesome. That is so cool. Because there's somebody that wants to watch your things that you made, that you put time into, that's important to you. And you get to share that with the world. And that I think is very interesting. So with me, I just needed to make stuff. I used to work in advertising, and I used to direct commercials. So I made stuff for Pampers and Coke and Coors Light and things like that, which is whatever. It's fun, but it's not mine. It's somebody else's. It's an ad agent. When you work with ad agencies, they have the pitch that they give to the client, and then you get hired, and you have to make somebody else's idea, and then I direct it, and then somebody else edits it. And I don't have any say in the way that it actually looks. The final product isn't mine anymore. And I love that. I love that YouTube gives you control. You have control of every single aspect. So with that video, obviously I didn't do the camera, but I wrote it, directed it, posted it, and I edited it, and just finished it 2 hours ago at the pizza place. And I love that. I love that every aspect of it is mine, because it pushes me to keep wanting to do more things, to make better stuff. There was actually, somebody asked Matt a question that was it was something about success. Do you think that you're successful now? Or when did you realize that you were successful? And when that question was asked, I kind of asked it to myself, and I was like, man, I'm never going to be successful, because I don't think I ever have been or will be. Because I'm scared that if you think that you're successful, or at least for me, again, this might be a personal issue, and we're just going to air this out here. We're having therapy right now, so thank you. I'm nervous that I'm never going to be satisfied with anything that I make. Because this video, at the moment, I think is pretty cool, but by the time I start working on my next one, this one's going to be horrible. Earlier today I was talking, and someone was like, oh, what's your favorite video that you've ever made? I was like, none of them. I think everything that I make is horrible. Because you spend, I feel like I'm not alone in this, you spend so much time with it, that after a while it just becomes this repetitive bore, and you're just so sick of it. And that's how I feel with these things. I've looked at my stupid face on that video so many times, And like I can just recite the whole entire script to you right now because I've had to hear it over and over again. And it constantly pushes me, and not only myself doing this, which is torturous, but also just the audience. When you have an audience, and again, it can be 10, it could be 1 million, it could be 10 million. There's people that you need to entertain, that you need to impress constantly, endlessly, forever and ever. And it's actually interesting when Matt was talking about seasons, because I don't have those. I need to make a video every single week. I've never taken a vacation. I don't even know what that would mean, a vacation. Ugh, horrible. Not making things? That sounds like misery. I don't like that at all. Because you have to just be making things. If it's not this, then making something. I mean, I even have it tattooed on my wrist just so I never forget to make things. I always need to be creating things. And I feel like probably a lot of you feel the same exact way. Because what is there if you're not creating, if you're not sharing things, if you're not sharing who you are with the world? And again, that's why YouTube's amazing. So again, sorry, tangents. I go on them wildly, and I apologize, but maybe it's part of my appeal. We'll see. So, I don't know. So when I made advertising and music videos, it wasn't mine. So I moved to YouTube because it was mine. And luckily, I was able to find an audience. And before I did Vsauce, I had another channel called Space Lab, which, if the title didn't give it away, was all about space and science and all that fun jazz. So I did that for a while because it was very exciting. A thing that I love about making videos, making content, and this can apply to making videos, making music, writing, photography, art, whatever you want to do, is that it's an experience that you create, and then people are sitting here watching it or listening to it, they're completely in your control. Even though it's a different kind of control because it's not immediate. I'm not controlling you right now. It's something that I already had made that exists in this box that we then watch. And I love it because it makes you feel something. I don't know if you ever get this, a little bit of a tangent, but when you watch like a movie or listen to music and it kind of makes you feel bad, right? But not like bad in oh, I'm sad. But it's just so amazing. It's so good that it just makes you feel like you're never going to make anything that good. But it forces you to make something that good. You want to. You use that of kind of like your trophy. Like, I want to make something that good. I want to be at that level of whatever that was. For me personally, has anyone ever seen the movie Heathers? Heathers is fantastic. And I remember when I was in high school, I used to watch that movie every Friday because it would just make me want to make things. Because I watched it made me so upset that I didn't make that. Like, it's so smart. And everything about it is just, for me, was perfect. The way that it looked, the way that it felt, the way that it sounded was so beautiful that I wanted to make something like that. So I'd always watch it every week to push myself to keep making things. So anyway, sorry, tangents again. When I make stuff, I always need to outdo myself because nothing's good enough, right? It's like an endless mountain that we climb. And there's just this fog, this mist that we walk into, and every video is another step on that mountain. And I don't think when you go through that fog that there's ever going to be a peak. There's never going to be a top. I'll probably endlessly be climbing this metaphorical mountain that I've just created right now. But whatever, it's a good metaphor. We can all use this. It's yours. Giving it to you. Take it. And like, I never want to look back at anything that I've done because then I'll either see how far I've gone or how little I've gone. So as long as I can kind of just have horse blinders on and continuously go up and just make things forever, then maybe I'll be satisfied in knowing that I'll never be satisfied. That's like my depressing message for you. But again, so let's continue with this stuff. We'll go back to this because the slideshow is structured and I'm not. Yeah, here we go. There. That was supposed to be while I was doing that, but we just did that, so there we are. I gesticulated wildly and did random pauses between words. So there's a deck, a presentation that YouTube has that's called The 10 Fundamentals of Creative Strategy on YouTube. And I like this deck because I like going through it and just like saying why I don't like it. So that's why I like it. So we're going to kind of go through this together because I think it is important because there are a lot of techniques on YouTube that are important. And the first one that's not in this, I'm just going to give it to you now. It's going to be a precursor to this thing. It's just watching YouTube content. If you don't watch it, then you're never going to be successful at it. I remember a couple years ago I was doing a presentation and I asked like, what YouTubers do you guys watch? Nobody watched anything. Like literally they couldn't even name one. And in my mind that was like, that's like saying, I'm going to write a novel. Oh, you ever read a book before? Nope, but I don't care. I'm going to write a novel. It's like, oh, well, okay, good luck, I guess. And that's how I feel about YouTube. If you don't watch YouTube, if you don't understand the ecosystem, the way that it works, and the way that creators interact with their audience, then you're just going to slowly drown. And no one wants that. Drowning's a horrible way to go. So don't do that. So watch content. Always watch things. Even if it's not in your vertical, just watch it, because you never know what you can kind of glean from it. There's always something there. So let's get into this thing real quick. Oh, there's a montage of people in it. Okay, so the first one, there's the 10 fundamentals. Shareability is the first one. And, oh, guess what we have first? Comes with my 2-year-old. What a weird coincidence that they're here. But it is shareable, because anyone can relate to it. We all maybe love children, I mean, whatever, but we all know that children exist and are a thing that are in a lot of people's lives. So we can relate to it. We can relate to that. And especially, who shares videos a lot, especially on Facebook? Adults. And adults have children. So they have kids. So that's a thing that they can share. They can share with their friends, and then their friends share it. It's like back in the day when we used to just, not myself, but my parents would forward emails forever, endlessly, and be like, oh, please kill me. And it'd be like, forward, check this out. This is what this is to a degree. It's shareable. You can relate to it. It's something that you want to post because it helps exemplify who you are as a human being. That's why people share things, especially on Facebook, right? Where you want to collect likes and comments because it's an expression of who you are. It's a little Boy Scout badge that you can put on your shirt. So good job, Comms with my 2-year-old, because it's definitely shareable. Rhett and Link have a really good quote. When people share this, what 10 words will they use to describe it to their friends? Because that's the whole thing. People use this, and that's one of the reasons I think Vsauce has been successful, is because we give you little pieces of knowledge that you can share. You can tweet it. It's 140 characters. And it empowers you. It makes you feel smarter, more knowledgeable, more impressive to your friends, which is why you do this kind of stuff. Again, you share it because it's an expression of who you are. You can connect to it. It's the same way back, like in your social media profiles, you list what books you've read or what movies you've watched, because it helps identify you as a human being and find people who are like-minded. That's what sharing videos does. So with this one, topical, valuable, relatable. These are all true. I mean, it makes 100% sense. Casey Neistat, who probably some of you guys know, he's amazing. He's awesome. Yeah. So he's super, super cool. And actually, fun fact, back in 2009, I used to be his editor. There you go. Put that on the wiki page. So he made this video, obviously, when the iPhone 5S came out, because it's tentpole programming, as they say. Topical. Worked. Like for me, I'm doing my ghost video. Hopefully later today I'll release it. And that's for Halloween. Valuable, 25 ways a scarf, whatever. I don't even know how to wear a scarf. Then how to piss off, relatable. That's another thing, like, oh, I live in New York. I know what that's like. I've been in New York. I can express that. People can just share it. It's exciting. Shareability, blah, blah, everything we just talked about. Conversation. Not with a 2-year-old, with your audience. So these are all very smart, like having a conversation. So I did something recently where I've always been very nervous about talking about myself as a person, personally. So with Vsauce, I'm able to be that character on screen, right? And I'm scripted. I read a script, and then I just present that. I don't just kind of talk off the cuff like I'm doing now. But what if I did? So I started my own personal channel, and what I noticed with that, when you have like a vlog, is that, boy, people get a lot more engaged, because they know you now. They can connect with you. They feel who you are. They have a sense of your existence, more so than they do with my Vsauce videos. So even though those get a lot less views, the level of engagement is just bananas. It's so crazy. People like, make GIFs or draw photos or whatever because they feel like they know you now. I'm their friend. We all love tacos. Everyone loves tacos. Everyone loves tacos, right? Yes. Yes. Dang, that wasn't as impassioned as I was hoping for, but it's okay. Everyone loves falafel, right? Yeah. That's good. It's pretty much like a taco. So we're good. We're on the same page here. So it's this investment that they can have now in me, and I can have it in them because I can talk directly to them, and it feels more honest, again, more organic. So that's really, really important. And I don't know, you guys don't have Taco Bell here, right? Taco Bell's not a thing that exists. So Taco Bell, let me just tell you about Taco Bell real quick. Again, tacos. Gosh, it always comes back to tacos. Boy, oh boy. So Taco Bell is a fantastic fast food restaurant in the United States. But the reason I use them as an example is because they're a brand, they're a faceless corporation who crushes it on social media. They are so smart. Like their Twitter has over 1 million followers, their Instagram has over 1 million followers, their Facebook has a couple million Facebook fans. And the way they engage with their audience, it feels like a human being is running it. It doesn't just feel like, oh, here, check out this product. It's, here's an amazing thing that we can do together. Here's an awesome contest that we're running. Here's 100 Taco Bell socks that we made. Here's bed sheets that will make a burrito. Oh, really cool. My bed can be a burrito. Fantastic. And it is actually fantastic. Let's let everyone know. So they engage very well, but that's also very rare for a brand to actually be able to communicate like a human being and build an audience, build a fan base for this entity that has no face. That's awesome. And also, Spirited Away, no face. There we go. I don't know. Anyone watch Miyazaki? Miyazaki fans? Yeah, cool. You're my new favorite person in the world. I joke, you're all my favorite persons in the world. I love all of you, especially you. Because you're just like, you're like a stone wall, arms crossed. So it comes to you're like, oh, look who it is. Like a quick thank you, like talking to your audience and acknowledging their existence is always very important, especially when you do scripted content, to let them know that, oh, hey, I'm a human being that exists that actually makes this content. I'm a person, and I have feelings. That's always important. Swoozy's a great example. If you haven't seen his stuff, he's really, really good. Where his stuff is, he does a lot of like this animated kind of stuff, where he does conversations that he's had or experiences that he had, and he animates them. But then he also comes on and just talks as himself, and it just helps build that audience, where we don't generally see him in his most popular videos, but then for that core audience, those people that are always going to come back to watch anything that he makes, they know who he is. And that's the most important thing, is that even though this probably has 2 million, or does, 2.3, then his other videos where it's just him talking probably have less, but the people who watch it are a lot more engaged. They're this driving force, and that I think is a lot more valuable than views, is just kind of how much traffic you can drive, how much influence you have is really, really important. And it's not, and I always feel when you say influence, it sounds like it's a negative, but it's not. It's a positive. Because how many people can you drive to things? Can you drive to like a charity? So we're doing a thing soon where we teamed up with this brand called Loot Crate. And Loot Crate sends every month this little box full of like nerdy, geeky things. And it's like $20 a month, and you get like a box of just really fun stuff. So we decided to do that with them because we wanted to make it something that was informative or educational, you know. So maybe you get like an Arduino board so you can learn how to program. Or maybe you get, you know, a little telescope or a little magnifying glass or microscope for your cell phone so you can look at things and explore the world microscopically and see how beautiful it is. And then for us, all of the profits go to charity because we can like use that, we can use the influence that we have to drive an audience to get something that they can actually own and have, and it's this tangible thing that's exciting for them. But then it helps somebody else too. It benefits a cause. In this case, Alzheimer's, because that's important. So conversation, blah. Interactivity, again, is important, and I think Matt actually talked about epic rap battles as well, and we're going to talk about them. We'll just jump to them, because I love them. Epic rap battles of history, they do a great thing. Matt said it, where they always ask the audience, who's next, you decide, right? So then you leave the comment. And again, a lot of the times it's a placebo effect. They're not actually, maybe, I mean, they're going to, because there's so many comments that someone's going to leave it, but they're probably just making it anyway, and then there's a comment that aligns with it, so then they show it. But it's that feeling of I have control of the content. I can help dictate what this creator is going to do, which on television or in movies you don't. Whatever input you have isn't, I mean, it's valuable, but not to whoever's creating the show. They're not going to really listen to it unless it's very, very vocal. So with this, it allows the audience to immediately feel like they are helping shape the content, which, again, brings them back because they helped make it. You know, whenever you help create something or work on something, you want to see the finished product. So they're going to come back every week to see if that one suggestion that they had finally made it into the video. So it's a very easy tool to do, and it works wonders. Consistency. This is one of my favorites because I love consistency. I think it's fantastic. But I like it for a different reason than most. Because a lot of times with consistency, it'll be like, oh, scheduling. You have to do it every Monday. For me, I make a video when it's done because I care more about the consistency of quality than I do the consistency of quantity. And a lot of stuff that we do on Vsauce is, it has a format. Every video starts with, Vsauce, I'm Jake, and then we go into it. And it always ends with, and as always, thanks for watching, and then we end. And the music's always exactly the same, and the feel of it is the same. So we have these boundaries that we've given ourselves, but I think that pushes you creatively, right? Where if you have these walls, these boundaries that you've been given, you have to find how you can build your own world within these walls. And you have to constantly push yourself to make it different than how it was before. And that I love because you just have to be as creative as humanly possible every single week or whenever you make videos. And especially with the Vsauces where there's 3 of us, there's 2 other channels that I need to be as good as, right? Because everyone's going to judge us against ourselves. So you constantly have to be pushing the envelope of what you can do within these boundaries that we've given ourselves within a format that we've created ourselves. But that's exciting. So consistency. That's my kind of thing on it. So a lot of people do it. So Bad Lip Reading is a great example where he's consistent. His videos are always really great, but his format's the same. It's a bad lip reading every single time. That's always what you're going to get. It's not going to be different. There's a channel that I like to use as an example called Barely Political. And they became really well known for doing Key of Awesome, which was music parodies, kind of in the vein of like Weird Al, right? But then they kind of stopped doing that. And what was interesting is they have maybe now like 4 million subscribers, I believe. And their Key of Awesome videos will do gangbusters, right? It's like a couple million views, but then there are other videos that aren't that, maybe do 100,000, 200,000. And I always look, I'm like, what happened to the other 3.8 million people? Are they dead? Where'd they go? What happened to them? Because they didn't subscribe for that, they subscribed for the Key of Awesomes. They don't care about the other stuff. And then as a creator, it kind of makes it difficult because you want to make other things. You don't want to just be pigeonholed and have to stick with one thing because it ties you down. It's not as exciting to be creating new things all the time, but the audience just wants the same thing over and over again. They're never going to get sick of it because they're not the ones making it. They're not the ones living with it and sitting in it for the rest of their lives. So it's difficult. How can you do that? So with us, we were able to do it because within that format that we've created, I can talk about anything I want. I can talk about Godzilla, I can talk about ghosts, I can talk about the weight of emotions, I can talk about Superman punching you in the face. I can go anywhere I want. And that's very, very exciting. So trying to create a format I think is very important that is kind of, it's malleable a little bit. You can move it, it's putty. You can adjust it, it's still putty, but you can put it in whatever shape you want. So bad lip reading, he has a thing where he just has to do bad lip reads for the rest of his life. But they're amazing, so hopefully he just keeps doing them forever. So here's the thing, consistency, scheduling, for me personally, if you have really amazing content, schedule is important, I think, when you're starting out. But once people know your content, for me now it's more of, I would rather just make the best thing that I possibly can because I want people to get the best experience from my videos. I want them to watch it and be like, oh, I could only get that from Vsauce 3. That's very, very important to me. Because again, and I think most of you probably feel this way too, like if you come from a film background, is you just want something that's very high quality and perfect and as an experience because you're putting someone into your world. And it needs to be a great experience because it's an expression of you, it's who you are. And it should never be second best, it should always be amazing. And that kind of goes with format, whatever. Personality and voice, though, are always very important. Because again, if you're not honest, if you're not who you are, if you're not interested in what you were talking about, it wouldn't come through. Like luckily with the stuff that I make, I'm very invested in it. It's important to me, and it's important to share what I've learned with people. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't, gesticulate as much. And that would be sad. Because who wants a world where my arms aren't flailing around? Like sorry, side note. I always get sad thinking about if I was a T-Rex. That'd be horrible. Tiny little arms. How could you move? There's no range of motion. I don't know. I would not want to be a T-Rex. I don't know. Targeting. Obviously not to people here because you guys don't like dinosaurs. Or tacos. If I was a falafel dinosaur, would that be fine? So targeting is important because the interesting thing about YouTube or the internet in general is that who dictates what you watch? You do, the viewer. You dictate what you watch, when you watch it, how you watch it, where you watch it. Whereas on television or movies, you don't really get a say in that. We do now with kind of video on demand, but generally you don't have a say in what kind of content it is, But now we do. So hey, there's bro science. I wonder who that's targeted towards. But it hits that market. There's that niche there. And it's the same thing with beauty channels or with science channels. There's an audience that we're going after that exists, that will watch it because everyone has access to the internet. Well, not everyone, but a large portion of the world has access to the internet. More so than like television or movie theaters. Because you can have a cell phone and you can watch videos. You can't really watch, traditional television on your phone. And that's kind of an important thing because now, especially younger people can watch stuff. When I was a kid growing up, I would have killed to have a television in my room, but I didn't. I had to share the TV with the rest of my family. So I'd have to watch what they were watching. I didn't get to watch what I wanted to watch. But now they can. Now on my iPhone or on my iPad, whatever, I can watch anything I want whenever I want to watch it. So kids are just devouring that because they have control now. They don't have to sit in the living room. They can sit in their bedroom and watch whatever they want and choose what they watch. And that is super, super powerful. And there's so many little chillins out there that you just gotta, you kind of go after them, I think. So bro science. Video level, show level. Sustainability. This is important because this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with a format. Can it exist forever? Jack's films, Jack Douglas is amazing. I love Jack Douglas. Definitely check out his stuff. And he has a series called Your Grammar Sucks. This is number 60. I think now it's like almost at 80. Or if not in the 80s. And he makes one of these every single week. And the way that it does, he actually crushes it with this. Because it's based on user engagement. His viewers send him people's typos from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. And then he just combines them and he literally just reads them out loud. So he'll just say this in like a funny voice and that's it. But he does it really, really well. And also, again, the whole entire show is curated by his audience. So that's incredible. And he's able to do this forever. Every single week he's able to do it because it never runs out of material because he has the world's best investigators finding these amazing quotes for him to talk about, his audience. And again, they all want to watch his videos now because maybe their quote made it in there, or maybe the screen cap that they sent made it into the video. So they're always going to be checking. It's kind of endless. So there's just so many of these. He has so many, like Jackass is another one that he has. He's really good. So he has a very set schedule where it's like, Your Grammar Sucks on Fridays, Jackass on Wednesday, and then there's always a song parody or some kind of song on Monday. So he sticks to a pretty consistent schedule, but his bread and butter is just these shows. And another one I'm sure we all know of is the Fine Bros with React, the React series, right? That's everywhere. They have a whole channel now that's just React, and they have a show coming out on Nickelodeon. But this I really love. So I shot a few videos with them recently, and it kind of blew my mind because it takes me about, like that ghost video in total took me about 2 months to make. When I went there, they shot back-to-back 3 episodes with me. I just had to change my t-shirt. And I was like, what? You just shot 3 episodes in a day? That's insane. I don't even understand. It hurt. I was like, how do you do that? I want to make that many videos. But they're really, really smart about it because it's a format that's instantly reusable. They can change it. It's blank, react to blank. The end, Mad Lib. Fill it in yourself, and you can do anything you want. And it's just crushing it. Discoverability. We're just going to blow through this. Discoverability. Oh, hey, here we go. Barely Political. So Key of Awesomes do really, really well. Really, really well. But that's the thing that's so crazy to me, again, and this is more of just, I'm talking out loud, I don't have an answer, that these do so well, and their channel has so many subscribers, yet when it comes to the content that isn't this, when it comes to their sketch comedy, it's nowhere near. It's like 100, 200,000 views. So it's just so drastic, the difference, that you really then, with them, like, they're at the point where they just kind of make whatever they want because they can. But if they couldn't, they'd be stuck doing Key of Awesomes all the time for the rest of eternity. And who wants that? But for discoverability, it's great because what are people going to search? They're going to search Miley Cyrus, and then this video is going to pop up. So it's going to be like Miley Cyrus, her actual music video, and then We Can't Stop parody, and people are going to click it because a lot of them will be confused, but also because it's like, oh, a parody of this song that I like, let me check it out and see what it is. So it's immediately going to pop up in search. Fine Bros, Fine Bros. So with the Fine Bros Kids React to Nyan Cat, if you search Nyan Cat, the very third thing is their kids react to Nyan Cat. So people are just going to find it and look at it. And when you Google search it, it's one of the top results is their thing. Because they were able to hit that trend immediately when it came out, and so they own it now. That's theirs. Discoverability, so it's trending evergreen. That's always very important, is evergreen content. And this kind of goes with tentpole programming. Can it be something that will exist forever? So a problem that we run into is like, with Barely Political, I'm going to use them as examples all the time. Barely Political, it's in the title, they make political videos, but during the presidential elections in the United States, after that's over, well, I don't want to watch a video about Mitt Romney and Obama now. That's over. That's done with. Why do I want to watch that anymore? It's not evergreen. It existed once for 2 weeks. It was relevant, and now it's gone. So is that worth the investment? I don't know. It's up to you, depending on how much you invest in that content. Now we go to one of my favorites, accessibility. I have a very strong belief that you shouldn't curse on YouTube. No, you should if you're going after an older demographic. There's a lot of gaming channels that a lot of stuff they do is like they curse a lot, right? And that's always very sad to me because I love the idea of everybody watching my videos. I want everyone to watch it. I don't want to limit it to a certain age or a certain kind of person. I want everyone to watch my videos. Whenever anyone asks me like, oh, who's your audience? Just anyone. People that breathe oxygen is my audience, I guess. Hopefully you all breathe oxygen. That'd be kind of weird. But that's what I want. I want everyone to watch it. And when I do panels and stuff and I see the audience, it's like a lot of adults with their kids, and like, oh yeah, my daughter and I watch all your videos. Like, thank you. Gosh, that's like the best feeling in the world. To know that they can watch it together and experience it together and get something out of it. And they can both learn something is just phenomenal. Or we have a very nice thing that happens occasionally where people will show our videos in classrooms. And that's just insane. One is validating. It's like, oh, a teacher thinks that what I said was correct, so good. I didn't mess up. But also just that it's valuable enough in their minds where they can share it to their classroom. And it's appropriate for kids is really, really, really exciting. So for me, like, we don't ever curse, we don't ever talk about religion or politics or alcohol, or we don't consume it on camera. Because in my mind, it needs to be, I want everyone to be able to watch everything I do. Why, I don't know, I'm making it for the world. I don't want to just limit it to a certain amount of people. So this is another thing, like, and also with accessibility, though, this is another thing, part of it too, is that they're a great example because you don't have to know their other content to know this video. To watch this video and to enjoy it, you need no understanding of their other content. And that's a very, very unique thing where you can just watch their videos and understand it and be part of the club. There's no kind of like, you have to be this tall to ride. You just know, oh, I understand this. Now I can check out more of their videos and understand them as well because they live as these individual pieces that just exist. And then I think we have that, oh, lizard. We're almost there, don't worry, people. Collaboration is very important. We all know about collaboration. Working with other people is great because the audiences, again, on YouTube can be very isolated. And it's hard to know that other channels exist outside of that one that you're a part of or that little niche that you're a part of. So working with other creators is great, and this kind of goes with working with brands too, which we'll talk about, is finding people that exist in the same sphere. Not even that. I've worked with channels that have nothing to do with what I do, but I like them. I like the content that they make. I like their audience. I like what they do, what they stand for, and generally there's always very nice human beings. So how can we work together? Because again, it's kind of when we work in these little boundaries that we create for ourselves, is how can I introduce you to my audience and introduce you to my content in a very organic, natural way where it's a great experience, not just for me and not just for you, but for the audience. And for me, that's one of the most important things is the audience. And this goes with working with brands. I'm only going to work with a brand if it benefits my audience, if it gives them something that they can't get anywhere else. Because I want to be able to give them, again, an experience that they can only get from Vsauce. So we did this thing once that I thought was fun, where this brand that was actually really, really cool. It's a clothing company. And they're like, oh, we'll give you 10% off, and then every sale you get like 15 or 20% of it. And I was like, cool, what if you give me 25% off, and then I get no money from the sales? And then I can just give a higher discount to my viewers. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess that works. I'm like, sweet, thank you. But then it allows me to be a better curator and host for the audience. To be like, hey, so here's this 25% discount that you get now, and it was going to be this, but we were able to work it out. And that's a benefit to the audience. And for me, that's more valuable than whatever monetary value I would have gotten from that deal, because the audience trusts me more now. And that's what's important to me. Again, influence. It allows them to believe in me, and I can be more honest and open with them, which I really, really like. And again, working with brands, it needs to be natural. So I did this video with Samsung, where they had this new TV coming out. It's like the curved 4K resolution television. And like, oh, we want you to make a video where you talk about how great the TV is. I was like, okay, cool. So I made a video. I didn't talk about the TV. At the end of the video, I ended up talking about like if anything exists. And then at the end of the video, we pull out of a television, because I ended by saying something like, this whole time I've just been recording on a television. And we pull out and realize, oh my goodness, we've just been watching a television. And that's when their TV was in the video, and that was it. The end. But for me, I mean, at first they were kind of upset, but then the video did well and they were happy. Because for me, it was more of, how can I integrate it where it doesn't alienate my audience, where it doesn't feel like, oh, we just watched an ad. I'm not James Bond, but one day. But I love what he does, what they do with his movies, where he'll just pick up his phone and talks on it. And you're like, oh man, that Sony Ericsson looks so good. Like, he looks so cool with that Sony Ericsson. But he never says, oh, let me just answer my Sony Ericsson phone. He just has it, and he looks cool using it. And that's kind of the angle that I always try and push, is that we can add it to the video to enhance the experience, but not detract from it, not make the experience about the product. Just add it as a nice little accoutrement, right? Make it feel like it's necessary. It's a very intricate and integral part of the video, or else there's no purpose. There needs to be a motivation with everything. With the ghost video, like, I just love the way cameras move. I'm a big fan of, do you guys know Edgar Wright? The guy who did like Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim and stuff like that. Where he has this technique where the camera's the motivating factor. It's movements. The cuts always push the story forward and make it feel more alive, more vibrant. And that's what I want to do, but with everything. Not just with how we move through the video, but whatever I'm holding in my hand or whatever product I use needs to enhance the video. So I made another one recently called, What If We Lived on the Moon? And that was another branded thing with Borderlands, this game. Because it was coming out and they were like, oh, it takes place on the moon. I was like, oh, guys, stop talking. That's awesome. Let's talk about what it would be like if we lived on the moon. So in the video, at the very beginning, I just go, I've been playing a lot of Borderlands, and then I never talk about it ever again. Because that's all I needed. Because that's what gave me the motivation for the video, was that game, was them saying that it took place on the moon. I was like, oh, what if we lived on the moon? What if we had a lunar base? That'd be cool. So I just talk about that, and that's my brand integration. Was just at the very beginning, but it actually did help me come up with the idea. So that was just a very exciting thing. But again, me holding that up like it was a movement. I held it up, and then we moved on, like wiped it across the frame, and we kept going. So collaboration, that's with brands, but also just collaboration with YouTubers is very, very important because it grows your audience. This is a very good one with Key and Peele, that Rocket Jumper, Freddie W, or Video Game High School, whatever we want to call his channel now, I don't even know. It's Key and Peele's really great. Again, they're not YouTubers, they're actually just hosts of a TV show on Comedy Central. But working with other creators is the best way to grow your channel fast. But again, it needs to be real. It shouldn't just be like, oh, here we go for like a subscriber grab. It needs to feel like it's supposed to happen. Inspiration. So inspiration, this one's, we're kind of getting repetitive with these things, but this is a YouTube deck. So inspiration is important because, again, it goes back to, am I talking about actually necessary? Do I need to talk about this? Am I talking about it because I actually want to talk about it or because I just want an audience? And that's kind of a thing that you need to find, and especially if you're a brand and you're trying to create a channel, you need to work with a creator that is as passionate about your brand as you are about your brand, because it won't come through. It'll feel like a brand if it's not exciting for everyone involved. So that's inspiration. I'm just going to skip them because Jenna Marbles is part of there. But yes, so those are 10 fundamentals. But again, I think they're interesting because with every single one of these things that they have as part of this deck, it's how you use it is entirely different per person, right? So a lot of the stuff that I do, I don't really follow a lot of these things. But a lot of channels that are successful do. And I think it's just how you interpret them and which ones you use. You don't need to do all 10, I don't think. I think you need to use the ones that fit the best to you, and the ones that when you immediately hear it, you just come up with ideas. Oh, what if I did this, but I turned it this way? How could I change it? How could I make it my own? That's the ones that you kind of stick with. And now I've been like talking forever, so I want to hear you talk to me, if we can. Can we do that? Is that okay? We can talk about falafel. I don't care. Whatever you want. So yes, Q&A. Q&A. Or clapping. Clapping too. That works. Yes.
So the industry here in Israel is not, in Hebrew you say it's in the diapers. Yeah, it's like not advanced. Mm-hmm. And we go around to advertisers, and the most common reaction is, you want us to pay how much for that little? Because they want the whole bundle. They want to see their logo all over. So I was wondering if you have any tips on how would I answer it?
Well, then I think for that, it's a little bit more of a negotiation, because obviously they want their logo everywhere, and they want you to like say their brand name and say their tagline. Like with Samsung, they wanted me to say that, like, I don't even know what their thing is. I forgot what it was, like the next big thing is here or something like. I was like, I'm not saying that. Like that just doesn't feel natural, right? And a lot of times, because they're the ones who can write the checks, but you really have to like stand up for what you believe in, because you know your audience better than they do. And if you were to do all of their asks and be like, you know what, we'll have your logo in there, your audience is gonna hate it. They're not gonna like it at all. And finding test cases, I'm sure there's lots of YouTube videos you can find where you can like show how big that backfired when people did what they were asking. You can use that as a test case, or maybe it's the thing where like you just don't ask for as much money and you want creative control. So with the Borderlands example, they wanted to be able to read my script and watch my video before I made it live so they could give notes. And I was like, no, you can't do that. You can do none of those things. So I was like, how about this? How about you pay me less and I have complete creative control over my video? And they're like, yeah, that sounds good. Fantastic. Because for me, again, I would rather just the video be fantastic and amazing and maybe have the brand integration than dilute it for them. Because again, it's the audience is the important thing. If they go away, then you can't get brand deals anymore. So I would rather make it a legitimate thing for the viewer because they're more important. So maybe it's just working with them, and maybe it's taking less money so you can do what you want with their integration, but not do the whole entire, hey, look at this giant banner, go check out their thing. So yeah. Good question. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello.
The last video you showed us seemed very, very professional. I mean, it was taken, I presume, with a professional camera.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is, the first videos you made, you said this wasn't the first channel you had a different one. So your first videos, were that professional, or?
No, I mean, the camera never moved. So that was shot on the Red, but that was just my camera. Because that's the one that I had just for when I was doing advertising. So they looked about the same visually in terms of, we're going to go quality-wise, but when it comes to like the sets and the camera moving, the sets actually, those are free.
Yeah, that was my next question, because the whole production looks, you know, the outfits, everything, you need a budget for that.
Well, actually, the outfit that was my own suit, so thank you so much. Thank you. So, and that was my first time actually, tying a bow tie is really difficult. I mean, I feel a lot more like a man now. I think I grew some chest hair when I finished tying it. I was like, what is this? So that was exciting. But, so with the sets, we have in, London and Tokyo, New York and LA, there's YouTube Spaces. I don't know if you guys have heard of the YouTube Spaces. But they have these studios that YouTube creators can use for free. So that was filmed in, the beginning was filmed in the New York space, and the rest of it was filmed in the LA space. So that was actually, but that's what I love. So again, when it comes to having to push yourself to create things within boundaries, they were like, hey, Jake, we have these really awesome haunted house sets. Do you want to film on them? I was like, I guess, what kind of video could I make that I could utilize these sets for? And that's how that idea, the ghost video came up. I was like, oh, I've always been interested in ghosts. Maybe I could do that on this set. So with that was just free. They had these amazing sets. So I was able to use them. So that was a huge benefit of that. But also then when it comes, like, again, that was the first video I've ever used where I've had a crew. I think there was 3 people that helped me on that video. That was the first time I've ever had anyone. So that was very, very exciting. But I was able to do that because since I didn't have to spend money on anything besides them, I was able to afford them. Because I already had all the equipment because it was mine. The sets were provided for us. And the suit was mine. So yeah. So it's using the resource, because that's, I think, especially when it comes to, and I'm sure when we all made films, like, you don't have money ever to make anything. So how can you do stuff that's very incredible and exciting with nothing? And that's the best part about YouTube, is a lot of times you have nothing, but you have to make something amazing. You have to be as creative as humanly possible and push the boundaries of this emptiness that you're stuck with. And that's again, very exciting to me, because you have to really, really try hard to make amazing content with very little resources. Did I do it? Did I answer everything? Oh, that's fantastic. Cool. Oh, there you are. You, yes. Oh, you want the microphone? I see how it is.
Who does the research for you? I mean, all the fact-finding and stuff.
Yeah, good question. So me. I do... no, that's actually a good question, because I get asked that, like, how many people help you with these videos? So besides that one, I had a camera guy and, like a sound guy, and then just like a PA, I guess. But generally, when it comes to researching, writing, shooting, all that stuff, it's just me. Like, I do everything, edit them. So besides this video, I'm always like a one-man band. I just do everything myself. So like after this, I'm going to go back to my hotel and upload the video, and then make it public. And maybe come up with a thumbnail, I guess I'd probably do that too. But yeah, so it's just me. And it takes a while. So that video, like I said, took about 2 months to make. It took about 2 months of just research, because when you talk about a topic, I need to know everything. If I don't know everything, then I can't talk about it with authority. I can't be as descriptive as I want. And even though I research stuff and it doesn't make it into the video, I still want to be able to have a full grasp and understanding of the topic. So that's very important. But like, so this took 2 months to research, and then I filmed it Saturday and Sunday, and then, yeah, today it goes out. So they're pretty quick. Once they're actually filmed, it's a pretty quick turnaround. Because I just need to get it out. I'm like done with it now. I just want it to be in existence somewhere. So yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Are you rich?
Am I rich? No. I mean, but I guess, well, then we're going to have to go into what's the definition of rich, right? I'm going to turn into an episode now. Am I rich? Financially, no, but in experience, yes. And just in like the kind of stuff I get to do, definitely. But no, I'm not rich. I'm not rolling in dough, as they say. You know, I flew economy here, if that's any help.
Hey, it's a bit of a specific questions, but 2 days ago I interviewed Vitalik Buterin, who's the founder of Ethereum, which I guess you've heard of. So for everyone like who hasn't heard of it, it's a decentralized version of the internet, which means that the whole model, both financially and technologically, that the internet operates on today might change. They raised more than $18 million through crowd funding, and I was just like wanted to get your opinion on how do you think this could work into the kind of things that this convention is about, the kind of things you're doing, like a decentralized version of the internet, but doing original content and branding and things like that.
So doing original content branding on a centralized version of the internet?
Because now we have like the brands that might finance these kind of content, and you have like your own channel. But if the web becomes decentralized or gradually becomes decentralized, do you think this is also kind of, I guess, an episode for you? How would you
keep going? Let's hear it.
How would you like consider doing that in a decentralized mode?
It's an interesting question. I mean, personally, for me, it's just where the audience is. If enough people can get there and like use it, then of course, especially brands will follow, right? But at the moment, I mean, this is all speculative. Personally, I probably wouldn't do anything with it until it actually, this is a viable thing that's going to exist for longer than X amount of, until they run out of money, right? So it's going to go for a while. So at the moment, it'll be interesting to watch. Kind of like, what's that new social media that came out, Ello or something? Where it's like that kind of thing, where it'll be interesting to watch, but I'm not going to invest my time into it until it actually seems like a thing that'll exist for a while. So that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of my thing with that. I think it's really awesome and like interesting, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm a little bit skeptical, because the thing that makes the internet amazing is that we all can just access it, right? Like I can just go on to anything and use it, and there's, for not old people, but for elderly folks, like they don't know how to use anything. Like, my grandmother like freaked out when I FaceTimed her for the first time. Like she was like, "Why are you in here? Why is my grandson in the computer?" It was very, very sad. She's like, "No, Grandma." So we'll see. I don't know.
All right.
Grandmother.
You said earlier that you started your first jobs were like an editor for another YouTuber. Is that right?
Yeah.
So was that like your aspiration when you were starting out? Did you see them do it and said? And can you talk about your connection to Vsauce and how you got?
Yeah, totally, dude. So I was working with Casey. So before all this stuff, when I first got into it, I really wanted to make, my dream always, the reason I went to film school was because I wanted to make commercials and I wanted to make music videos. I kind of entered at a bad time because it turned out that music videos don't like pay money anymore, because it's kind of changed. It's not like the thriller versions that they were. Now they're these little things that anyone can make on a camera and whatever. So I started moving more towards doing like working with Casey, but this is back in the day. So Casey Neistat wasn't on YouTube yet, not the way that he is now. He was making commercials. He had an HBO show at the time too. So an HBO series, and he was also making branded content. So the first video I did with him was like a 30-minute documentary for Dockers, like the brand, the clothing brand, that we made about like what it means to be a man, but it was like kind of a satirical look at that. So that's like the first video that we made together. So I did that, but then I also moved to more internet stuff. Like I started working at Pitchfork, and I became their head editor of Pitchfork TV. So I started doing that, and then I moved to Vice and started working with Noisy with their music brand, and just doing that stuff because I just wanted to make things. I just always wanted to create things, and it seemed more that on the internet you can actually make stuff. Because again, when I was doing advertising, I didn't have control over this stuff, which I didn't like. I'm just bad with working with people, I guess. I didn't like other people's ideas. I like my own ideas because I'm selfish. So I started just doing more of that, and I realized that the internet's amazing. It's incredible. And it allowed me to make anything that I wanted to make, and I could put things on there, because I would just make random stupid stuff and I'd upload it. And then like only 100 people would watch it, but that was incredible to me. That's 100 people. I remember when I got like 1,000 views on a video, and it was the happiest day of my life. I think I like called all my friends, like, dudes, guess what? I just got 1,000 views on a video. It was so exciting. So I started doing more of that, and for like, then I started with Space Lab was my channel that I started doing. And from Space Lab, I started working at the YouTube space in New York, and I met Michael Stevens and Kevin Lieber, who do Vsauce 1 and Vsauce 2, and we just became friends and started talking about other content that we could make together and ways that we could work together. And as I had learned in my life, is that if you kind of ingrain yourself into somebody's life, it's hard for them to get rid of you. So with Michael Stevens, I just was like, hey, why don't you just let me start editing your videos because you're so busy? So I started doing that, and then we just got kind of like a little bit of like a dance together. We just like figured out how our styles worked and meshed together, and then we just kind of came up with what Vsauce 3 would be. Like I wrote some show ideas, and I was like, here's what I would like to make. Here's some pilot episodes, and I filmed them myself and like put them together and then showed it to him. And he was like, oh, this is great. Here's our channel. Fool. Did it. So that's how it works. Because again, because even if he didn't like it, I just wanted to make things. Because you get that urge, the bug, just to make something. Like I just need to create anything and you just do it. So that's kind of how that functioned. I also like these. These are really cool lamps, like glowing blue orbs. Good job, decorator person, wherever you are. I don't know. I'm just gonna look around. Sorry, I'm done talking about that. Anyone else?
I was wondering, what kind of software do you use? Software, hardware, to produce your chapters?
So camera-wise, I use the Red Dragon for my videos. And also, side note, Red, everyone just, not everyone email them, but slowly, pace it out. Everyone email them across numerous days, because Red Cameras loves YouTube. They're like super, super into YouTube now, because YouTube's one of the only platform, I believe, at the current moment, where you can upload like 4K resolution videos. So that video, the Ghost one, is going to be uploaded. It's actually going to be my first 4K video that I upload. So you can actually upload like amazing 4K quality, high quality, beautiful video. So I shoot on the Red Dragon, then audio, I don't even know, I just use like whatever microphone I have, as long as it sounds good. And then for the stuff is Adobe everything. So Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, and then sometimes Cinema 4D if I got to get a little bit fancy. So that, and then Adobe Audition to do mixing. And if I really, really want to get super crazy, I'll use DaVinci Resolve for my color grade. But that's about it. But I mean, especially nowadays, I'm like turning into a commercial for Adobe. They're so accessible. It's like if you have like a student ID, it's $20 a month or something US to have access to every single piece of software they have. Which is why I started using all of it, because I was like, oh, maybe I should learn Audition. Maybe I should learn Media Encoder, because it's just there, it's accessible to me now. So that was very exciting. So yeah, that's what I use. Okay.
Thank you very much.